Hello, welcome to Walking-Working Surfaces training. This training is designed to help you identify and minimize your risks of slip, trip, and fall hazards within the workplace. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? So what could possibly go wrong here? This cartoon illustrates very well how hazards can be everywhere. However, it is important to remember that workplace safety is no laughing matter. That is why it's important for us to train our employees to recognize unsafe conditions in the workplace in order to both prevent future injuries and take corrective measures to prevent accidents from occurring in the first place. First, let's talk a little bit about slips, trips, and falls. Slip, trips, and falls are one of the largest causes of work-related accidents and injuries. For that reason, we will discuss what to look out for and easy steps that you can take to help prevent slip, trip, and fall incidents within the workplace. Slip, trips, and falls can occur in any part of the workplace, both inside and out. Falls from any height, even level ground, may result in serious injuries. This can accumulate significant costs both to the worker and to the employer due to medical bills and lost wages. The impact to the worker from a slip, trip, and fall incident may result in pain, loss of wages, temporary or even permanent disability, and all of these factors can lead to reduced quality of life and possibly even depression as well. The impact to the employer from a slip, trip, or fall injury may result in loss of productivity, costs of replacements for employees to fill new positions while the injured employee is out recovering, cost of medical treatment resulting from the injury. And this is why it's absolutely beneficial for everyone involved to recognize slip, trip, and fall risks within the workplace early to prevent all of this from occurring. To fully understand the impacts of slip, trips, and falls, it's important to first clearly define exactly what slip, trips, and falls are. A slip is when there is too little friction or traction between your feet or footwear and the walking working surface that you are walking on. The loss of traction causes you to lose your balance, and slips can occur when floors or working surfaces become slippery due to wet or oily processes, floor cleaning, leaks, or from materials or debris that are left on the walkways. A trip is the result of when your foot or lower leg hits an object and your upper body continues moving, throwing you off balance. Trips can occur due to uneven floors, working surfaces, protruding nails or boards, stretched carpet, or even bunched up floor mats that were originally intended to prevent you from slipping in the first place. A fall results when you are too far off your center of balance. This can be the end result of slipping, tripping, or when you step down unexpectedly to a lower surface like a misstep and lose your balance, for example, stepping off a curb. It's important to emphasize that both slips and trips can result in falls, but in addition to this, falls can occur from ladders not maintained properly, from stairwells or elevated working surfaces, not designed necessarily for the task that you're using them in as well. Reporting and investigating slip, trips, and fall incidents are extremely important to reducing and preventing future incidents from occurring. This is because incidents of slips, trips, and falls at work may be even higher than the numbers actually show. Many times workers do not report incidents because they think they may be minor or make them appear clumsy. This is a mistake. Minor incidents that are reported may be clues to troublesome areas needing repairs or may help prevent major incidents from occurring in the future. There are many factors that contribute to increased risks in the workplace, and in the case of slip, trips, and falls, two of the biggest proponents are not paying attention and overly cluttered areas. We should always be actively observing our path of travel at all times and take any steps necessary to remove possible obstructions and hazards that could pose possible risks for slips, trips, and falls. Here are some quick, easy steps that you can take right away to help minimize slip, trip, and fall hazards in the workplace. First, if you drop something, pick it up. It sounds simple, but many times individuals assume that somebody else will pick it up later for them. Next, if you spill something, wipe it up. This is more important than the first because many times liquids can be very difficult to see on certain types of floor surfaces. This makes the risks of slipping even higher because wet spills can be easily overlooked even by the most actively observing person. Finally, go where you are looking and look where you are going. As pointed out previously, many slip, trip, and fall hazards can easily be avoided simply by being aware of your surroundings at all times. Some additional environmental controls that you can take to further reduce your risks of falls are to ensure all walking aisles are clear, make sure floors are clean and free of debris, use floor signs anytime there's a wet or slippery surface, and wear shoes with good support and slip-resistant soles whenever possible. Make sure all cabinets and drawers are kept closed when not in use to eliminate tripping hazards. And finally, never under any circumstances should you stand on chairs, tables, or surfaces with wheels. Always utilize appropriate step stools and ladders, or contact the department with the appropriate ladder for the job. Now let's discuss some housekeeping tasks that you can use to take control of your areas. Some things that we should always avoid are propping open fire doors, storing materials in stairwells, storing trash cans in front of doorways, obstructing or blocking emergency cutoff valves or electrical panels, or placing chairs in dangerous or walking working areas. What you should do instead is correct or report these hazards immediately. Now in this next section, we're going to briefly discuss the different types of walking and working surfaces to be aware of. Walking and working surfaces consist of all of the walking paths that you utilize during your time at work. Sidewalks and crosswalks may present hazards such as cracks, holes, or uneven surfaces. Even just a small change in elevation can present a tripping hazard, so please report these dangers anytime that you see them. Floor mats are unique in that they're placed to prevent a hazard, yet sometimes they present a hazard themselves. On occasion, problems that they present can be if it's wet outside, the mat is folded back, the floor is now getting wet instead of the mat absorbing the water. With the mat folded and the floor wet, you could have a potential of catching your foot on that folded mat and also slipping on the water, leading to a fall. Sometimes just the regular wear and tear of the mats themselves can cause them to warp and create additional trip hazards. So correct these anytime that you see them. Wet spills and water hazards present major risks in the workplace because they can be very difficult to see. You should always report or clean up standing liquids immediately. Always place a wet floor sign in the area until after the surface has completely dried. Hallways and emergency exits should always be completely free of storage and potential trip and fall hazards. At no time should pallets, trash, boxes, or clutter be allowed to remain in a hallway or emergency egress location. Stairs and escalators are another location that can be hazardous if improperly used. Never walk up down escalators, never walk down up escalators. Keep your hands on the handrail and always hold on to the handrail. Take one step at a time when you're going downstairs or upstairs, never skip stairs. And always report any missing or damaged pieces to the stairs themselves if you ever come across one. With escalators, it's also important that the escalator is not operating. Always use the stairwell. Never walk down or walk up a downed escalator. The reason for this is they can roll and actually cause injury if they get overloaded when they are shut down. So always block these areas off if you see that there is an escalator down and report it for immediate repair, and keep other pedestrians from going into these areas. Now that you know how to recognize hazards, let's talk a little bit about accident prevention. Did you know that slip, trip, and fall accidents are preventable? Slip, trip, and falls are the leading cause of accidents on our property and one of the biggest proponents for injuries worldwide. The main reason for this is slip, trip, and falls occur anywhere during any type of job task. We will show you some easy steps that you can take to prevent these types of accidents, but in the end, they all come down to three main points. Be observant anytime that you are moving. Warn others if you recognize a hazard and maintain a safe zone until the hazard can be addressed. And finally, take action to correct the hazard as quickly as possible. Sometimes the job tasks that we perform make it easy for us to not pay attention to the risks around us. For example, if you're carrying items that are stacked too high, you will not be able to see any trip hazards in your walking path. Never carry objects that obstruct your vision, and instead get help or get a cart. Another increased risk in the workplace can be poor lighting. Poor lighting can lead to reduced visibility, which makes it harder to identify slip, trip, and fall hazards. If your work area lights are out, report them. If you find a hallway light that's out, report it. In many cases, lighting can even be provided to help identify changes in floor levels. So if you see that these lighting fixtures are out, always report them as well. Lastly, don't run in hallways. Always wear proper shoes, preferably non-slip when they're required. Don't walk and text. You've heard it before, look where you are going and go where you are looking. If you see a hazard, remove it or mark it and report it. If you drop something, pick it up. If you spill it, wipe it up. This now concludes your Walking Working Surfaces training. If there are any additional items that are specific to your department, your management will advise you at the end of this training. If you have any questions, please address it with myself or even with your management. We'd be glad to help you out. And thank you again for your time.